Speaking of good policies, as of this week, I believe Florida's
As of yesterday.
yesterday.
That's what I
Yeah,
was
congratulations,
saying.
everybody.
Yeah.
Florida is done with geoengineering, so that might either mean we're done with hurricanes or that we're going to get a whole lot more of hurricanes because we've been doing this stuff since like the 40s. Like there's something called Operation Cyrus where we were like creating and ending hurricanes like right off the coast of Georgia. I think they made a hurricane by accident and it hit Georgia, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Operation Popeye, we flooded Vietnam with monsoons. So, there's no telling like to what extent this has actually impacted the weather. So, I mean, I'm excited to see what happens with this. Just around the horn, Amy.
It's just so funny that for the longest time, everyone was saying that chemtrails, weather modification, all of these things, it's a conspiracy theory.
Boom.
Wow, we just passed legislation to block them from doing the thing that's a conspiracy theory. Isn't that crazy? You know what? I am just so sick of people being persecuted for being right too early. I'm so sick of it. It happens constantly, but once again, we have been vindicated. Yeah, like you said, I'm just curious to see if now,
what's going to happen?
yeah, hurricanes are going to stop, or will they get way worse? I mean, I don't know if it was always necessarily to control the weather. There was also something about, it's meant to make you more docile, like
Yeah.
the effect that the chemicals have, like on your body and mind.
Yeah,
like it's
memory and all
not just
that.
to control the weather.
But just the fact that they could shoot some stuff into the cloud and create a hurricane, that creates a whole lot of questions and
pretty wild.
suspicions.
Pretty wild, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be crazy if we just didn't have
do-
hurricanes anymore. But
Do you remember?
and that's a win for Rob's mom, by the way. Shout out to Rob's mom.
Shout out
Yeah,
to Rob's
shout
mom.
out to Rob's mom.
You remember when Bill Gates wanted to spray the whole planet to help?
Yeah, like in a coating to protect us from the sun.
from global warming.
Yeah.
Or his mRNA mosquitoes, or like all.
mRNA.
Bill Gates is going to destroy us in the sake of preserving the planet somehow.
And this,
Oh my
this is the
gosh.
problem with communism, Brandon.
What's
like
that?
It's people that want they want the greater good for a lot of people. The more people you're concerned about, the worse things you do.
Yeah.
All right?
Yeah.
I mean, well, it's similar to, I think there's an episode of The Simpsons where Mr. Burns creates this big thing that blocks the sun as it goes over the town so that everybody has to keep their lights on all day because he owns the power plant. But this is actually a great thing because it proves that a thing was happening that they told us wasn't. Like, how are you going to get mad at passing a bill to stop something that's not happening?
Right.
This is Senate Bill 56, and there's people who are protesting it. Okay, who's pro
It's a joke.
chemtrail?
Right.
Wait, do we have a video of that?
We don't have any videos, but it had legislative hurdles it had to get over.
You kidding
It's like,
me?
who's gonna stand up there and be like, "How dare we block weather modification?" Oh wait, I'm sorry, I thought you told us that was fake. So if it's not happening,
Or it was
then
bad.
why aren't you okay with the law saying don't do it?
I mean, so here's my thing too. Like, I've seen crazy stuff where like, did you guys know there's a hurricane sitting next to New York posted up the day of 9/11?
Oh no,
Just
Brandon, I never knew that.
offshore.
Like, so I mean, it's the craziest thing. It's like, it starts off like where Florida is, but like way out into the sea. Like, takes a sharp right, starts going towards New York. Then, like the day of 9/11, it's sitting there. Then the day after, it takes another sharp right and goes up north. So, I mean, there's a whole lot of stuff there with other stuff that's a rabbit hole. But the reason I'm making that point is
Do you have
because
a video on it?
there's charts of
we
it.
don't.
Hurricane Aaron, if you guys wanted to do a Google image of its path, but I think it's reasonable to speculate that we could control hurricanes with precision. So I mean, I don't know like what magnitude this is going to change things, but like because I don't know how much we've been doing this. Like if they've been doing chemtrails or like, cloud seeding or geoengineering like every day in Florida for the last 20, 30, 40, 50 years, like what impact has that had? And then what impact is it going to have if we suddenly stop? And then how many hurricanes were caused because of this? Like, because there is a case to be made that it's like economically productive the same way that a war is. If you just send a hurricane up the west coast of Florida and just wreck shit and then you have to rebuild it and your buddies get the contracts.
Damn.
So, I mean, like, I guess, like, a way to put this in perspective, like, what % of the hurricanes do you think were man-made versus natural, just, like, around the horn?
And not just hurricanes as well. Think about things like Maui fire, for
Oh,
example.
That's
like,
an entire episode that we have to do. By
like what mechanisms do they have at their disposal to be able to create
and why
chaos in
everything
this way?
polluted and burn.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Yeah.
we've been having hurricanes since long before the technology to allegedly create them or make them worse. Like hurricanes
So
are a
it's not-
natural
Hurricanes are
phenomenon.
real, yes.
Hurricanes are real. Like,
No one's denied that
yeah,
they're
but
real.
I'm on board with only one form of weather modification. The Trump proposed nuke hurricanes. If every time there's a hurricane coming over from Africa, we just drop a nuke in the middle of it and see what happens.
I don't think we have
Because
to nuke
either
it.
it dissipates the storm, or it just makes things way more interesting. Because now there's a radioactive hurricane, and we get to see what that can do.
No, but you just do the opposite of what they do to start them. So, like, to start them, they, I think they drop stuff in the cloud to make the cloud, like, darker so it absorbs more heat, and then that heat combined with the cold makes a hurricane. So if you do the opposite of that to a current hurricane, then I assume it would, like, weaken it or make it dissipate.
You would have to think, but that's what I'm saying. We should try it at least once. I'd be
I think we're
curious to see
capable of
how
doing
it
a
goes.
lot more than we know about. But I mean, just like war is awesome for the government, I would assume natural disasters are equally awesome because they could, spend a bunch of money and put a bunch of emergency measures in power. So I mean, you guys don't want to give a percentage. You're not comfortable with that. I'm gonna give a percentage. I'm gonna say 60% of hurricanes and natural disasters have been engineered over the last
Come on.
50 years.
Where are you pulling that from?
to
My
what
intuition,
effect?
that's where.
Brand.
To what effect, though? Just like they want to wreck everything periodically to get
give
construction
a little-
contracts?
Yeah, a little stimulation boost.
Because like we talked about this back after
we do that in the chat?
Hurricane Helene.
what
right?
do you want me to
A
say?
poll say, what percent of natural disasters have been man-made? Over or under 50%?
Yeah, so like remember Hurricane Helene? Like that one had a weird path where it swept up through
Which one
Florida.
was that?
That's the one that decimated Georgia and the Carolinas.
Oh yeah.
that's the one-
It hovered over North Carolina for a weird amount of
yeah,
time.
like that's very strange.
Yeah.
And we saw footage of allegedly the flight path of a plane that sort of like looped around where the storm developed and then flew away after a few hours.
And they say
But-
they're storm chasers. That, like they have
Yeah.
to like fly that close to take pictures of it. But what if they're like spraying it with stuff to
Yeah,
give it a
like,
boost?
don't get me wrong. We at that point we looked at the patents for things that can steer the path of hurricanes, and cloud seeding is an openly acknowledged technology that, weirdly enough, there were laws that this Florida bill repealed that had been on the books for years that said geoengineering and cloud seeding were legal.
Yeah.
So this is repealing it, but 60%. You're saying 60% of
Yeah.
natural disasters are completely
chat
artificial.
agrees. Chat agrees.
Chad agrees.
Chad
Well,
agrees.
yeah.
Wow.
I mean,
Yeah, definitely.
like in Dubai was one of the early adopters of cloud seeding, and growing up, it got out of hand a few times. Like I couldn't even.
Oh, were they miscalibrated it with the cloud
like,
seeding?
Oh man, I'm old. A president that I won't name was coming to Dubai that weekend. If I name the president, I'm gonna give away my age, right? A president was coming down to Dubai.
When I was a boy, Grover Cleveland was president.
And the weekend before he came, I think they had to move the visit because it rained so much. The whole Dubai. Imagine this: a city in the middle of the desert. The whole city was flooded.
Yeah.
Like
Wow.
I remember.
Well, it has
going-
no drainage, so anytime it rains more than like a little bit, the entire city
I
gets
remember going
wiped out.
outside with a skimboard and just doing skimboarding through the streets of Dubai.
so they like round up or something, or they missed the measurement?
I don't know what happened, but I never seen the rain on the desert as I saw that day. It was absolutely unbelievable.
Speaking of that, I've always wondered how the hell a drought is even a thing that exists in our vocabulary since we're able to make it rain with cloud seeding. Like Arizona, parts of California,
It's a great
Nevada.
point. And then
what's
what
going on?
And then what about when what was it, Texas, that had a freak winter storm
Yeah,
as well,
it
where
sure
nobody
did.
could even leave their house for days.
Except
None
for
of their
Ted Cruz, who went
infrastructure
to
was set
Cancun.
up to be able to accommodate it. Like, do you think something like that was
I do.
geoengineering?
You know why? Because there's 3 power grids in America. There's the Eastern, the Western, and the Texas. So Texas is so badass and rogue that it has its own power grid, right? But the federal government hates that. They want it to be incorporated in the main power grid, and they always give Texas a bunch of shit about that. So when that happened, their thing kind of disconnected for a little bit, and they're like, "Oh, see, that's why you got to be part of the federal grid."
Right.
Well, part
and
of-
so they are on the federal grid now.
No,
or
they're
they
still
still
holding out.
refuse.
Part of what
Good for
happened in
them.
Texas,
Yeah.
though, was that a bunch of their grid was supported by windmills, and the windmills froze up during the blizzard, or at least that's what they said. So it was a huge failure of green energy because turns out they don't work when it's freezing cold and they stop spinning. But
Boy,
I feel
You
like
guys-
you're taking the same kind of argument of like you're on the climate change camp, only where a climate change activist would say, "Oh, it's man-made pollution making the climate worse." You're just saying it's direct government intervention that's causing all these natural disasters.
Not all, half.
So then the other half just happens naturally.
Yeah,
and
yeah, that's why they're natural. But there's government disasters
the
and natural
natural
disasters.
Well, of course it's not natural. It's
Wait,
in the name.
real
But what
quick,
was the
guys.
climate-
Do you guys know about the Bayesian yacht sinking? Steve keeps
yeah,
bringing
yeah,
it
yeah.
up.
We
Was that the
actually-
Yeah,
billionaire
oh,
guy
we
of
actually
the
good
did an
call.
episode
Wait,
on it.
and that was a freak hurricane or something as
Yeah.
well, right?
It
Or
just, like,
some freak
appeared right
storm
above his
that
boat.
Right. Okay. Yes, Steve. That's a really good point. I'm
Yeah, we
pretty sure we
covered it.
covered
That was our,
right as it
I
happened.
think that was our first episode with Ian
Wait,
Carroll,
it is?
actually.
Yeah, it was our first episode.
Ian and Minnie's faces were like
Bringing
sinking
back
off the
memories.
boat.
Put a like on the chat if you remember that
If
episode.
you guys remember that episode, and go back and check
But
it out.
I don't know. I'm in a very rare camp that.
Can you give me a number?
I'm gonna give you a number. I think 0. I think
0% are government
the
made.
What?
most disastrous thing is the government response. That's what most of the disasters happen.
Mm-hmm.
All right, it's embarrassing what happened last year. What?
The
Like
response to
even
Helene.
like North Carolina, preventing people from going out to vote. You don't
Yeah.
think that any of that could have been possibly geoengineering?
Yeah, it's
Or
just-
the
you just-
lithium stuff up there
you
too.
just don't let a good
People
crisis
didn't have
go to
flood
waste.
insurance.
Yeah.
But Brandon, like most people died during the response. Like I can't comment on what percentage, but unless you're in Florida, 100% of the government response to disasters is a disaster.
Like, look at-
Yeah,
Look
but
at
it's
what came
an
out about
expensive
FEMA.
disaster, which is good for them.
Look what happened with FEMA right after Helene, where there's entire exposés done on FEMA actually discriminates against Trump voters, and they're going after white families and family with American flags
I
in their
remember
yard
that.
because it
Yeah.
means they're political extremists. So to do this and try to seize power, like the government burns credibility in times of crisis, but I do think they seize on the opportunity of, okay, great, everybody got nuked by this naturally occurring hurricane, but let's seize all the lithium and quartz mines and then stop Trump voters from going out and casting their vote in the
It's
upcoming
not, like
election.
it's not like they're all in on it. I mean, John Brennan was bragging about this like 10 years ago. He was saying like, yeah, we now have the ability to like create natural disasters. I forgot the exact quote that he was saying, but it's a small group of people that I assume get to decide whether or not you make the hurricanes. It's not like the entire bureaucratic systems decide on the hurricane machine, but there's a small number of people that get to hit the hurricane machine button when they want to.
So what else are they creating then? Or is
everything.
Or is it just hurricanes?
Fires, tornadoes,
I mean, the
probably.
fires
I think
kind of
the
make
Maui
sense.
one. You don't think the Maui one
No,
was
see,
a little
okay.
suspicious?
Nothing blue burned.
When the Maui fire happened,
is that true though?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is true.
Here's what swung me over on that, because I totally did not think the direct energy weapon stuff made any sense until on 3 separate occasions I heard Joe Biden into a microphone say some people didn't lose their house because they had the right roof. Some people didn't burn because of the color blue.
Is that true?
Yes.
Yeah.
I thought because making up a few blue roofs on the internet is kind of easy.
No, but you look at the footage and it's burned house, house with a blue roof that's pristine, burned car, blue car totally fine.
Yep.
Everything's decimated. Blue beach umbrella completely untouched. Then, miles of
How do
of
we know if that's
destruction.
not Photoshop? Do you know anyone in Hawaii?
Same thing happened in California.
Yeah, I know people in
Same
Hawaii.
thing
I know
happened-
that's where I lived. I lived on Maui,
Yeah,
Hawaii.
but do you know anyone that can testify to this?
Yeah,
Like,
people have said
I
that they
know
saw
my-
it.
my buddy
I know a
Brooks-
few people who said they saw it for themselves. A girl I know called Caroline. She said that she saw it for herself.
And my buddy Brooks, that's in
She
my,
lost everything in it.
Yeah, no, you're good. My buddy from my group in circles, he lived in Hawaii too, and he says the same thing. So, I mean, and the same thing happened in California with these wildfires that just happened. There was a bunch of blue stuff that was perfectly fine, pristine. So, I mean, I think it's like the 9/11 thing where not a lot of people are looped in on this, but it seems like direct energy weapons are used for that too. But there's a lot of rabbit holes that we could get lost in with this. So, I mean,
But at
I'm
least-
still looking for a number from you guys. So, if we could just go around the horn quick and get
I'm
a
going to say
number.
20% man-made. 22%.
Okay.
Lucky number.
All right, good.
I feel very tempted to side with Humberto on the 0, but
Wow.
if it no more than 5 to 10%.
I go 1% just every time Chris Christie goes into the ocean.
causes a tsunami that
Yeah.
wipes out coastal
What's the
towns.
final poll say?
The poll. Over 50% landed at 61%. 39% say under 50%.
There you go.
How
That-
many feds?
And 60% of the time
I
it
did
works
that
every
poll
time.
already. That was a lot of feds. There's
All right.
always feds in the chat. You know that.
Now,
Always